Now time to check in with weather when it comes to what's happening with Eric Hunt. Eric, over the past few days, we've seen some rain showers, some cooler temperatures, albeit some heat along the way as well. As we turn to the next 7 days, what are you seeing?
Well, thanks, Bryce. The biggest story this next week is Mother Nature's going to turn on the sauna for a couple of days. This weekend, though, we're looking at ridging across the southern portion of the country. And on the periphery of that ridge, we're going to see a couple different rounds of showers and thunderstorms, probably starting Saturday. And I think on Sunday, we're going to have additional chances of showers and storms statewide and getting into the I-states. Water Prediction Center shows the best chance of an inch of rain across southwestern Nebraska, then to our east into Iowa and Illinois. But I do think there's going to be a chance for most of central and eastern Nebraska to also pick up some additional precipitation late Saturday into possibly as early Monday morning. So we get to next week, though, we're going to see this ridge expand toward the north and northwest. So again, we're going to be very, very hot across the southern plains. Temperatures likely being over 100 degrees across a lot of Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas. I think at the surface, what we're likely to see is a quasi-stationary warm front, somewhere between Highway 36 and Highway 34. Areas along the north that are also going to see very high dew points. So again, the air temperatures may not be super, super high, but we may have very high dew points. So the combination of temperatures at low to mid 90s with very high dew points, potentially getting to low 80s across portions of eastern Nebraska and Iowa, will lead to heat indices that are maybe getting into the 110 to 115 range here at times Monday evening through possibly as late as Wednesday. By Thursday, I think we should see this ridge starting to flatten out a little bit, and a front will be coming through the northern plains that should clear at least a portion of western Nebraska by Thursday. Now, again, I think the timing of this front is going to be a little bit in question. Some of the more recent model runs are making this front come through a little bit more quickly, so it's possibly by Thursday we may even see this spread a little bit further toward the southeast. Regardless, so the further west you are in the state, the more likely you are to see relief by Thursday. I do think the entire state should see some relief by later Friday into early Saturday. Also looking at probably a good chance of precipitation across most of this region as we head toward the end of the week with the breakdown of that ridge and the front moving through. But that will be relatively short-lived relief. As we head toward the end of the month, we are going to see ridging building back and being very prominent here across the central United States. Very northward storm track. So again, I'm not anticipating a whole lot of precipitation here between about July 27th and 31st. I think also looking at temperatures being very, very warm, probably very humid. So I think there is definitely going to be some heat to finish out the month here. CPC is a pretty good agreement. They're showing more bullish on the heat toward our south, but I think realistically most of this region is likely to finish out July pretty warm. Speaking of warm, growing degree days a little bit below average across some of the southern plains. For the most part here across the Corn Belt and High Plains region, we are right around average, maybe just slightly above for growing degree days for the season. In terms of precipitation, likely drier to our south to finish out the month. I think the northern part of the United States may be a little bit wetter at times. And again, a lot is going to depend on where these ridges, if they flatten out a little bit, we are going to have better chances of precipitation here across Nebraska, which I think is going to happen later this week. I do anticipate probably the week after next being mostly dry and pretty hot across most of the state and the region. Recent precipitation, again, most of the state has had adequate precipitation so far this month. Some parts of central and northeastern Nebraska have had over 6 inches. Matter of fact, Norfolk's had more rain here in the last 45 days than it had all of 2022. Exceptions to some of the better precipitation have been out here across portions of western Panhandle. We've mostly been missing out. Good news, though, is range-line conditions across most of the state of Nebraska, across a lot of the plains, are in better shape than they were a year ago. Still some stress here across portions of western Nebraska. And this is our temperature and precipitation roundup for the week ending July 12th, 2025. Thanks. Back to you, Bryce.